We're going to focus this video on just converting within the US Customary units. So that's the stuff that we use. So you'll see we have three spots here. We have length, volume, and weight. And so depending on what we're talking about, we're going to use within these conversions or these identity ratios. So you kind of got to go with whatever you need. You can reference back to this as you need it. Now, number one, what identity ratio would you use to convert 27 feet to yards? Well, remember that you're always going to start with what you're given. If I'm given 27 feet, when I think about the identity ratio that I'm going to use, feet needs to be in the bottom. So can I go, right, here's your question, can I go from feet to yards? Well, if you look up here, here's your conversion. 3 feet is 1 yard. So this right here in pinkish, reddish, orangish, that is the identity ratio you would use to convert 27 feet to yards. And if you want to go ahead and do that, these would cancel out. 27 divided by 3 gives me 9 yards. In number 2, let's convert 15 yards to feet. So we start with 15 yards. It's what we're given. There's nothing else to it, so we'll just put it over 1. Now, if I want to get rid of yards, if they're in the top, to get rid of them, I put them in the bottom, right? We want them opposite spots, and I know that 1 yard is 3 feet. Now, this allows us to say, right, multiplying by fractions, if you have common factors in the numerator and denominator, they cancel out. Our labels are the same way, so the yards cancel out. 15 and 3 are both in the numerator, so I multiply straight across. I'm left with 45, and my label is feet. Don't forget to label your answers. In number 3, the world's record for hair length is 221 inches. That is some long hair. How many feet is this? Well, I'm starting with 221 inches. So when I go to multiply that, I know that inches is what has to go on the bottom because we want the matching units in opposite positions. I know from up here, 12 inches is 1 foot. So that ratio makes my label go away of inches, so I'm left with feet as labels. 12 is in the denominator, so I divide 221 divided by 12 gives me, and I'm going to go ahead and round, 18.42 feet. Can you imagine having hair that is 18.42 feet long? I can barely handle hair that is like 3 inches long. So this is crazy. This is crazy to me. Okay, sorry, moving on. If you canned 18 quarts of tomatoes, how many gallons would that be? A lot. You should share. 18 quarts. That's what we're starting with. That's what we're given. Okay, so I'm going from quarts to gallons. Look, quarts, gallons. This is my ratio. So I'm going to put quarts in the bottom, opposite positions for the quarts. 4 quarts is 1 gallon. So the ratio makes my label of quarts go away. 4 is in the denominator. Anything in the bottom we divide. So 18 divided by 4 gives me 4.5, and my label is gallons. Again, make sure you label your answers. 5, if your truck weighs 2.5 tons, how many pounds is this? Well, I'm starting with 2.5 tons. 2.5 tons over 1. Over here, 1 ton is 2,000 pounds. So where do tons go? Well, tons in the bottom. Or excuse me, tons in the top, so tons in the bottom. 1 ton, 2,000 lbs. That makes my tons cancel out. Multiply because they're both in the numerator, and I have 5,000 pounds for the weight of my truck. Let's do just a couple more of these. Math 123 lasted forever this week. Mainly 14,000 seconds. How many hours is this? Well, you're starting with 14,000 seconds. And I don't know about you, but I don't know how many seconds are in an hour. But I do know that there are 60 seconds in 1 minute, right? And you might say, well, Becky, that doesn't really help me. Well, I beg to differ. It does. This makes my labels of seconds go away, and now my label is minutes. Now, I know that you don't want an answer in minutes, you want an answer in hours. But I'll bet you that you know, well, if I want to get rid of the minutes, there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. So that next one makes your minutes go away. So yes, it is possible that you're going to do more than one conversion in the same problem. So you kind of just have to take what you're given. In this part, we start with seconds. What do I know about seconds? Well, seconds can go to minutes. Do that. Do what you know and see where it takes you. So now, because of this, I start with 14,000. This 60 is in the denominator, so I divide by 60. This 60 is in the denominator, so I divide by 60. So 14,000 divided by 60 gives me 3.89 hours. So any number in the denominator you divide, any number in the numerator you multiply. And again, my label, hours. In number 7, if you cooked 3 quarts of soup, how many cup-sized containers will this fill? Now I'm going to give you whiplash for a minute and go back to this just so that we can look at this. You're starting in this problem with quarts. Now you see that you can go from quarts to pints or quarts to gallons. Well, we don't want to get bigger, we want to get smaller. So I can go from quarts to pints, then I can go from pints to cups. So again, this is going to be a 2-step piece. So I start with 3 quarts. And based off my piece, I know that 1 quart is 2 pints. You've got to use your conversion. What do you know? Pints is getting me closer to cups. So that step right there makes the quarts go away, and now my label is pints. So then I can say, well, 1 pint is 2 cups. And that makes pints go away. Now my label is cups. All numbers are on the top, so 3 times 2 times 2 is 12 cups of soup. And the last one, if we had a measurement in inches and we wanted to convert it to miles, what would we do? Okay, so this is kind of just thinking through the process. So they're saying you start with some unknown numbers of inches, so we'll just call it a question mark. But how do I take those inches and change it to miles? Well, remember, you want to get rid of inches, so they have to be in the opposite positions. Well, what do you know about inches? Well, I know there are 12 inches in 1 foot. So that process makes my inches go away. But now I'm in feet. Well, what do you know about feet? Well, 5,280 feet is 1 mile. That makes the feet go away. And now I'm in miles. So what steps would I take? Well, I would take my inches, divide by 12, and then divide by 5,280, and that would give me some number of miles. So it's kind of just thinking through the process. What do you start with, and how can you go? So don't be lazy. Show your steps, use your labels, and take it 1 step at a time.